So I've been working through some grief during in my spiritual journey right now, and I realized some really important things, and how this really hasn't came up too much for me, and I'm not sure if it's because I've been avoiding it or just other things have been more relevant for me in my healing journey. And but so I kind of stepped into grief and was allowing to move this energy, transmuting this energy. And through that process, I realized like you are supposed to. I was fearing grief. I was fearing this loss. Like, not even going into grief, I was fearing what would happen if I. This fear of failure, this fear of loss, this fear of something bad happening because of past experiences that I haven't transmuted, haven't processed, haven't allowed it to flow. And so through that, I realized that I was fearing grief because I didn't want to experience more loss, and that I was getting angry at myself for not allowing, for being fearful and not allowing myself to experience grief or work through the grief that is already there. And then under all that was sadness of the grief that I've been holding on to and haven't been valuing. And through all this, and then there was another layer of fear underneath that. So, but some things that I learned and realized was that it's okay to experience grief. It's okay to experience loss. And this comes in many different ways, but one example for me is I lost my childhood dog, Muggsy, and through I'm not gonna I don't should I say why or not say why? Doesn't up to me. She got ran over, and then we had to put her down because she because I decided like I'd rather her experience like the positive life and live that positive life than have to go through this recovery. She was like 13 years old. She was a collie, and I mean, she was like my emotional support dog when I didn't really even know. I wasn't emotionally processing things, and so that came up for me. And so allowing that grief to move was super big for me because I kind of going back to the fear of losing, this fear of experiencing loss and grief, and then the anger of me blaming myself and holding on to this grief of her getting ran over because I was driving the car. And uh I don't I'm not gonna get in like she was in my driveway, and I mean, I don't need to explain myself. It was very traumatic, and I've never cried more in my life. Like before that, I've never cried more in my life than through that experience. And yeah, that was when I wasn't really emotionally intelligent or emotionally processed things. So it was just all this weight being released uh, right then and there. But so this fear of grief of losing something else, allowing, because ultimately it's a protection mechanism, this fear, and then being angry at myself and not valuing this grief as a lesson and understanding that I wasn't like having boundaries with myself. I wasn't valuing and listening to this emotion that needed to be heard, this emotional weight that needed to be lifted, to be forgiven and acknowledged and appreciated. As well as all the beautiful, I mean, this is how I went through it before I like knew how to emotionally process things, was to just focus on the positive experiences that I had with this beautiful soul in my life that was so was probably the only reflection experience connection that I had that was like so sweet and allowed me to be so emotionally vulnerable and to calm down and to love. in a unique way that I was denied in mostly the rest of my childhood and my life. So now some like positive ways to look at grief is to understand that when you lose something or you allow something to be like to go, someone to die, or like allows people to leave your life, or just processing grief, understanding that when you let go of something, something has to come and take its place. It's not like you're just empty for the rest of your life, and I'm never going to experience another connection and love, which when you don't allow that energy to move and allow yourself to feel and love and appreciate and forgive yourself and be grateful for the experience, not only of the trauma, the trigger, the loss, but also all the beauty before that, you attract an even greater beauty because you learn to appreciate what was there. So that was one thing. I think that's solid. I'm emotional, and that's okay. But what else did I understand? Like, there's two other epiphanies I had about grief and loss. Really just accepting it and acknowledging it and knowing it's okay to lose things, to appreciate them. Hold on. Let me get. All right. So I completely forgot about the whole that you're an eternal soul and nothing. You never truly lose anything, and you're also eternally connected to everything because you are all that is. I am all that is. I'm never I can call upon and just think about Muggsy, and I know that I can experience her energy. So when you realize that and you've lost a loved one, you can just literally think about them, and they'll be by your side. So give that a whirl. So you never lose anything. All right, let me read the rest of it. Yeah, I mean, allowing the energy to move, understanding that the experience is there to teach you, and it's there for a positive reason, to grow and to love and to shine in your truth. And also, when you're doing an internal work, and for me, I have dark nights of the soul quite often, and pretty much what that means is ego deaths. And it's okay. Sometimes it's really hard to let go and lose parts of you that you thought were there for you but really weren't, and were almost that you grew comfortable to, and they don't serve you anymore. And it can be tough to face ultimately the wound there and to allow that loss, but it's serving you in a greater purpose, in a greater light and love. Yeah, new things come, and the other thing is just death isn't real. That's the other thing. You're an eternal soul. You're the dreamer dreaming the dream. You are dreaming the dream as the dreamer. And yeah, loss creates transformation and new connections come in, as well as connecting newly with yourself. So yeah, you're allowed to be emotional and to still, I guess the emotions that are coming up for me is still just wounds I need to re-optimizing and re-tending to, nurturing and carrying my belief system, and fully embodying and understanding that it's okay to lose people, places, things, parts of you, and to replant, re-nurture, re-soil your garden, and to transform into who you truly want to be, who you're truly meant to be, that aligns with your purpose and passion and lights your soul in a shining, beautiful way. But yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy. And that's okay. But don't avoid it.